Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be reviewing all of the changes that are about to occur to the Soviet Tier 10s in World of Tanks Blitz. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good, but to be honest, the majority of them are actually really good changes. Normally, I'm here to beat Wargaming with a bat and tell them I don't like this and that and this, but I actually, for the majority of these changes, don't disagree. There's an odd tank here or there that I disagree with, but for the most part, good job. So, in today's video, we're going to be going over all these changes, so buckle up and let's get straight into it. And let me know, by the way, if you agree or disagree with the changes in the comments down below. Starting off, we have the Object 268 version 4. This vehicle is going to lose 40 damage per shot on the standard and 20 on the premium. So it's going to go from 690 to 650 on the standard alpha, and its premium is going to go from 600 to 580. Now that sounds like a nerf, but if we actually take a look, the reload becomes a second and a quarter faster, so it's actually gaining like 50 DPM. Essentially, it's not changing at all when it comes to the damage per minute. Now, the change in alpha is technically good, because it means that you're essentially just getting a faster reload. Sure, you're losing a bit of alpha, but it means that now you're not going to have to wait as long if you miss a shot to get another. And with the terrible accuracy, that is kind of good. The downside is that with the terrible accuracy, if you miss a shot, it's going to deal less damage, and if you hit a shot, it's obviously going to deal less too. So I guess if you miss shots, it's better for you, and if you hit your shots, it's worse, because I'd rather hit somebody hard and back into cover rather than reload faster. Overall, though, it's really not changing too much about the vehicle. It's still going to hit hard. I'm actually happy that they're nerfing its alpha a bit, because I think it is a little cringe to get shot for 700 by 268 V4 every now and then. Apart from that, the view range is reduced, it gets 8 PCR as the standard ammo, and it gets a 2 km/h increase in speed, so really not much happened to the V4, just a slight change in alpha with basically no change to the damage per minute. Making our way to the Object 268, now this gets a little nutty. The average damage per shot gets increased by 20. Okay, that's pretty nasty. What does the 268 have already? Is it 680 or is it, I think it's 680 if I'm not mistaken. It's 670. Okay, so it's going to have the same alpha as what the V4 currently has, so it'll have 690. I don't know why they didn't just make it 700, but either way, that's a nasty alpha. The view range is getting scaled down to 240 meters. I'm not currently sure what it is, but it's getting nerfed, so that's all I can say. It seems like Wargaming is nerfing a lot of the view range on all the tank destroyers. We can see that's happening to the V4 as well. I'm not sure if that's good. I guess we'll find out. I think it is good for the game, though, because I don't think TD should be able to outspot other classes of vehicles unless they're sitting in bushes. The armor is weakened for the upper and lower plates, as well for the hull and superstructure. So essentially, Wargaming is increasing the alpha. They're making the dispersion and aiming time better. I may have missed that, but gun dispersion and aiming time are reduced. So that means it's getting more accurate, more alpha. Technically, it's getting more DPM because the reload's not changing, but the armor's getting worse. Is that good? Yes, it's massive for the tank. If it's getting more accurate and more DPM, and the only downside is less armor, that's just massive because it's a tank destroyer. You shouldn't be frontlining with the 268 to begin with. So yeah, the thing's just going to become incredibly strong. Wow. So that'll be pretty nasty. The Object 263 is the first change that, yeah, I'm happy it's happening, but there's going to be people out there that are not going to like this change. The 263 view range is getting nerfed. Okay, we already knew that from all the other TDs. Reload time becomes 0.3 seconds shorter. So the DPM is currently, what, 3,856? Next update, it's going to be about 4,050. Wow, that's pretty insane. Armor gets enhanced for the sides. The engine roof gets buffed, and that right there is the biggest one by far. We all know the engine deck on the 263 is a massive hindrance, especially if you try to face hug people. However, if that thing gets buffed enough to you can't pen it with premium shells, holy crap. Not only are you going to be able to face hug people and literally rip them to pieces, but the vehicle is just gonna be insane. Not only that, but the superstructure is getting buffed. Its superstructure is already on flat ground about 360 thick, meaning that you're only gonna pen it if you're in either TDs or super high pen heavies like the IS-4 loading premium. But if they're buffing the superstructure, the vehicle is now just going to be impervious. Holy crap. Not only that, but the vehicle's APCR is now becoming its standard ammo, and it's getting heat as premium ammo, and the heat is getting 30 mils extra, so it's going from 330 pen to 360 heat. The tank is getting buffs on literally every single aspect. The 263 is going to be one of the most broken tier 10s in my eyes, if used by a player that understands it. Holy crap, I'm speechless. I'm fairly confident the Badger's going to get a DPM buff too, but I guess we'll have to see. Making our way to the next tank, we have the Object 260. The reload time gets 0.8 seconds shorter. Okay, that's good. Hit points are increased by 100. That's also good. Engine power and shell velocity are lowered. All right. Upper plate turret side armor are strengthened. They don't say by how much, but hopefully a lot. Average damage per shot is decreased by 20 for APCR and heat. Okay, so 260 isn't changing all too much. It's gaining about 150 damage per minute. Even though it's losing alpha, the reload is still a big enough buff that it's gaining DPM. Unfortunately, you are losing damage per shot, which was one of the major nice things, you know? You didn't have a lot going for you, but at least you could outtrade some tanks. With the damage per shot decrease, a little annoying, but it's going to have about 3,000 base DPM now, which is really solid. If you're running Rammer, almost 3,300, so that'll be pretty nutty. The armor is really going to be the big one here. If the armor gets buffed to a point where it's actually really strong, then the 260 could be pretty impressive. But I guess we'll have to find out. As of right now, it's not the best heavy, and I still don't think it will be next update. Next up, we have the 777, which doesn't change really at all, which makes sense because it is a basically brand new tank. Shell velocity gets decreased, and gun dispersion gets improved. Alright, who cares? Making our way to the IS-7. Holy crap. The IS-7 changes, this is one of the changes I don't necessarily agree with. I think they're making the tank a little too strong. Some of the things I do agree with. For example, top speed decreased is fine. It's going from 45 to 43. Okay. Armor penetration is reduced on the standard by 5. Who cares? But the premium Wargaming has finally listened to what I've said and increased the premium pen by 17 mils, going from 303 to 320. That means if you're running calibrated, which I most likely will be, it's going to go to 336 mils a pen. That's actually really nice. That means you'll be able to penetrate the majority of heavies now. Thank you, Wargaming. Finally, you are doing something about the IS-7's lackluster pen. So IS-7's becoming pretty strong there. It's also getting tungsten and an additional 100 hit points. Yeah, heard that right. Those are the changes I think is a little stupid. It should have stopped at plus 17 mils for premium. Instead, it's now going to have tungsten rounds, and its hit points are going up to 2,700. So, wow. Yeah, the IS-7 is now going to be one of the only comp tanks. Like, Alright, IS-7's becoming insane, that's all I'm going to say. I have a feeling it'll be nerfed, but I guess we'll find out. IS-4 hit points are reduced by 250. Why? I don't know. Wargaming has gone back and forth on nerfing and buffing the IS-4's hit points for a while now, and it seems like they're nerfing it back to 2,600 again. I think it should just stay at the way it currently is, but I'm not the one who decides. This is one of the tanks I definitely disagree with the changes on. So hit points are being decreased by 250. Armor pen is being decreased by 6mm on the standard, 10 on the premium, so it's going from 374 to 364, okay, and 3mm on the HE, alright. Armor is being weakened. Well, that sucks. Power to weight is being buffed. Top speed is being buffed. Terrain crossing capacity is being buffed. Accuracy, reload time, and aiming time are being buffed. So it's getting a much better gun, and it seems like better mobility, but they haven't told us by how much. And in return, the tank's getting worse pen and 250 less health. Personally, I kind of like the way the IS-4 is right now, but I guess we'll see how much they buff the DPM by. If we take a look at the T100 LT, the penetration is being reduced by 10 on the standard. Okay, that's not much of a hurt, especially because the premium's still insane. Frontal armor is all being nerfed, so that's great, especially on the turret. Hit points are increased by 50, not really much of a change there. And reload time gets reduced by 0.3 seconds. That's pretty nasty, not gonna lie. That means the T100 LT is gonna go from about the 3,100 DPM it currently sits at to about 3,300. It's a pretty big buff, about 200 DPM. That's actually massive. It's almost what it was before it was nerfed. So, yeah, 200 LT is losing armor, but that's an insane buff, especially because nothing else is getting changed. So, yeah, that'll be, like, the most used comp light again. T22 Medium. The reload time is actually getting worse. It's going from about 5.3 seconds to 5.5 if you're running Rammer. That's a pretty big nerf. If we make our way over to Blitz, we can see the DPM right now is about 3,261 with Cali and a 5.7 second reload. So if we add on 5.7 and then add on an additional 0.2, let me do the point. There you go. 0.2. It's going to be a 5.9 second reload now. So 60 divided by 5.9 should be very close to 10. There you go. And then multiply that by about 310. DPM's going to go from 3,261 to about 3,150. So 100 damage per minute less. It's not a massive nerf, but it is a nerf at the end of the day. However, the buffs might make up for it. Its top speed, engine power, upper plate, and side armor is being buffed. So I don't really know. I mean, yeah, I'd like to have that DPM, but I'd also like more side armor, which is already insane on the T22. So depending by how much they buff the engine power, top speed, and side armor, the T22 could just become stronger. I guess we'll find out. Overall, I'm actually not too mad about the changes, though. I think it's pretty well balanced. Going on to the 62A, damage per shot is increased by 20, so it's going from 310 to 330, same as the WZ-132-1. Gun stabilization will improve, alright. Frontal turret armor, upper and lower plate are reinforced, so maybe it's becoming more like the T-54. It'll be interesting to see. Turret traverse, speed, and engine power are reduced, okay, so it's going to be slower, but the reload time gets 0.6 seconds longer, okay, so it's going to lose DPM, about 120 DPM is what I calculated. So, not a massive amount, especially because it is getting an increase in alpha. I actually think this is going to make the 62A really strong, but I guess we'll have to see what actually happens to the tank's mobility. But right now, it's going to be a lot stronger on the alpha, because it's still going to feature about 3,200 DPM with Cali. Add that onto the change in alpha, plus it's going to have better armor. That seems really good to me, so I guess we'll find out. The Object 140 is, wow, it's going to become pretty insane. The reload is getting 0.53 seconds shorter. Yeah, you heard that. Now, sure, the DPS is being decreased by 10, but that's not changing the fact that next update, the Object 140 is going to have 3,800 damage per minute. Wow. Now, the armor's getting worse again, so that kind of sucks. View range is also getting 5 meters worse. So it's got some downsides, but, yeah, the thing's going to be insane. It's not going to be as insane as the Leopard, but wow, is the 140 going to be an absolute light killer with that change in DPM. Finally, we have the 907. The turret and hull armor becomes thinner, alright? Engine power and aiming time are both improved, okay? Average damage per shot is increased by 10, and tracer cells are added. So with a 10 damage per shot increase, it's going to have 320, and it'll probably gain about, I don't know, 100 DPM, somewhere around that area. So 907 is going to have probably about the same as the 62A now, or maybe, no, it'll have more than the 62A. It's going to have about 3,500-ish DPM with Rammer, so that'll be pretty nasty. Not only that, but it's getting the tracer cell mechanic for some reason, so now you'll be able to spot people for 20 seconds. Either way, 907 is going to be pretty dang nutty next update, even more than it already is. The changes here are mostly good. I think the ones I disagree with are mostly the T22, the IS-4, and the IS-7 getting tungsten and a hit point increase. Apart from that, the other ones are completely fine, and I think Wargaming did an okay job. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below if you agree or disagree, but at the end of the day, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.